You have the right to a trial by jury. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one can be provided for you through the public defender's office.
Yes, sir.
If the charges that are placed on you are discharged, dismissed, not prosecuted, or if you're found not
Yes,
guilty, you have the right to have your record expunged or wiped clean from these charges.
Yes, sir.
Now, you are being charged with a criminal offense, and if you are found guilty, you are facing serious consequences, which may include the
Yes,
payment of a
sir.
fine, the loss of your driver's license, and the possibility of a jail sentence. In addition, you may face increased penalties for later convictions, the loss of your right to possess firearms or ammunition, and your immigration status could be affected. You have important constitutional rights, including the right to representation by an attorney, but you may lose those rights or waive them if you do not act to protect those rights. You have the right to hire an attorney to represent you in every case. If you cannot afford an attorney, you may be eligible for a free attorney. If you want a determination made as to whether you are qualified for a free lawyer, then it is your obligation to be screened at the location identified in paragraph 5C of the bond checklist form that I'm going to give you tonight. If you do not hire an attorney or go to be screened, then you may be found to have waived your right to an attorney at your trial. You also have the right to represent yourself. However, you should be aware that self-representation can be dangerous. For example, there may be certain factual or legal defenses to your charge that you are not aware of, or legal issues related to the conduct of your trial or guilty plea that an attorney would know how to preserve for an appeal. If you exercise your right to proceed without a lawyer, then you are responsible for complying with all applicable rules of court, including rules of evidence, procedural rules, and proper behavior before the judge and jury. If convicted on the charges filed against you, in order to pay a fine, you may request a reasonable scheduled payment plan to pay that fine. It is your obligation to keep up with your trial date and to obtain an attorney, either by hiring one or by being screened and found eligible for a court-appointed attorney prior to your trial date. If you do not appear at your trial with your attorney, you may be deemed to have waived your right to have an attorney represent you. You are required to keep the court notified of any changes of address until the completion of your case. Do you understand everything I've read to you?
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Brown, you're being charged with burglary in the first degree, murder, possession of a weapon during the commission of a violent crime, kidnapping, and 2 counts of pointing and presenting a firearm. All 6 of these charges are general sessions charges, which means you have an additional right through the right of a preliminary hearing. The preliminary hearing is an evidence hearing where the state has to show that they have the evidence to take you to court. If you want that hearing, take the form I'm going to give you and fill it out. You can mail it or take it to the address on the form, or you can fill it out tonight and give it back to me. But you only have a total of 10 days to get that form turned in. Otherwise, you lose your right to that hearing. I'm placing 2 conditions on your bond. First of all, you're not to have any contact with the victim from the kidnapping or the pointing and presenting. And then secondly, you're not to have any contact with the deceased victim's family. Now, it's my understanding, ma'am, that you are a representative for the family. As the representative for the family, you do have the right to speak in court. If you'd like to say something, come up to that microphone right in front of you, please. And everybody else, you need to be quiet because I get a lot of echo from that room, okay?
I am the aunt of Terry. I see he has a problem of looking over to see who he recognized, but Terry doesn't have that opportunity anymore to point out any of us that are his family and friends that stand behind me. You took something away from all of us, but you took away a father to his 2 sons that they would never see. Terry, who would never see to know to be a grandfather. You took away from his sisters, the brother that he was. You took away from them having children that he could never be their uncle again. You took away from Terry, my nephew, who I stood in the brother in 2006. To take away Terry, you took away life from us. Now your family will still have the opportunity to know that you are here. But I pray to God the day that you are sentenced, that you were rot in jail. Then I will pray to God and thank him and ask him to forgive me for what I'm feeling for you today. But Terry, the person that I knew, never did harm to anyone. And the burden I'm handling the street fight, you took his life over someone else. You didn't give him an opportunity. Terry had an accident in 2007 that left him as a defenseless person. The Terry that you didn't know. Terry couldn't even stand up on his own unless he had shoes on, because from the accident that left him with no balance. So he couldn't even that day, that night, when you went into his apartment, he couldn't even stand up as a man to you. But I can tell you, what you have left in this room and outside is a family that is willing to fight for Terry. We can't get Terry back, but our words is to you, and I'm pretty sure for the rest of us that's in here, that's coming from me. And again, I will say, I hope you rot in jail. I hope no other person, no other family will have to endure the pain that we are enduring at this moment, and to know that we will never be able to embrace our loved one again. We will never be able to see that smile again. We will never be able to hear his voice again, to see the laughter, to walk down memory lane with him on where we came from. You took a lot from us. So I'm going to wish the same for your family, and most likely best for your family. I never ever thought on the 56 years that I have lived that I would look in the face of a murder. And I hope I will never have to do it again. If your mother is living, I hope she will never have to look in your face again. Because you are nothing but dirt. And when God calls you home, you go back to dirt, and the dirt of the pit, that you will never earn your angel wings.